Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and tonight I'm going to watch some Comicon trailers. Some of these I have seen, and at least one of them I have not yet. Of the ones I listed in the description, I've seen 3. I watched them one time the other day when they dropped, or a day after with some of them. And then one I've not seen at all. That's the She-Hulk trailer, the second She-Hulk trailer. The first did not look especially impressive to me, and I wasn't real enthusiastic, excited about that show based on that, but I'm going to go ahead and watch the new one, and people are saying it's a little bit better. So that I will give you a reaction in the moment and my initial thoughts on. And then I'm also going to go ahead and watch the Sandman trailer. Why not? I forgot about that, noticed that while I was pulling these up. And that's a thing that is a big blind spot, comic book-wise, for me, Neil Gaiman's Sandman. For years, I've meant to sit down and read some of that, and I never have. So that'll be an especially blind watch because I don't even have a whole lot of expectations for that. Anyway, hopefully you guys can see and hear me okay. Part of the reason I'm late is because the stream was having buffering issues apparently, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to show these to you guys. I'm also hoping that I can get away with playing all these trailers without getting the stream blocked, because even though it's trailers and that's supposed to be fair use and you're supposed to be able to do this kind of thing, and people are constantly doing reaction videos with these things, mine tend to get flagged and blocked, and nobody's able to see them. So hopefully we get lucky and that doesn't happen tonight. If I can't monetize this, no big deal. But as long as people are able to see it, that's all I really care about. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this whole thing, shall we? Welcome if you're watching live. Thanks for watching after the fact if you do that. And hopefully this doesn't just completely crash and burn. If there's buffering issues, you might see some, dropped frame rate and stuff, but I'll still be able to comment on the trailers after I watch them. Hopefully that'll work out okay. So we're going to start with the Wakanda Forever trailer. I did take a look at that when it dropped. I'm just going to watch it with you, and then I might comment slightly here and there as we go along, but it's just a couple minutes long. We'll watch it together, and then we'll discuss. Feel free to leave comments, and I'll interact with you if you're watching live. We've got a little bit of a crowd right now. Thanks a bunch for watching. Tyler, overall, you have real bad luck. I really do, in a couple of different avenues. I don't know. I'm trying my best. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into this. I haven't done this sort of thing in a long time. I've very rarely done live trailer watches or even trailer reactions at all. But a few things came out, and I haven't been doing regular content this week, so I thought I would try my hand at a couple of things that I don't do a lot, just to kind of test the waters, see how much interest there is in this kind of thing. And a couple of these trailers look kind of interesting and might be fun to talk about. So let's go ahead and do it, shall we? So here comes the Wakanda Forever trailer, and we're going to watch it right now.
No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry.
Now I'm going to struggle to remember all of these characters' names again. I remember Okoye, and I remember Shuri, of course, and M'Baku.
Good friends we have, and good friends we've lost along the way.
Real consistently stylized with the first trailer and the first film.
In this great future,
And production values just look gorgeous. Once again.
so dry your tears, I say.
I'm sure that baby's going to be real important. That could maybe be a flashback. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that people are just going to already know everything about that I'm not already aware of.
Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright.
That fire is reminding me of the heart-shaped herbs getting set on fire in the first movie.
Entire family is gone. Have I not given everything?
Well, that was in a heart shape. I didn't notice that before. Oh, there's Namor. Okay. Everybody told me Namor was in this trailer. I missed him the first time around. I think we saw kind of a close-up of his face and then back off. If that was both him, I'm not 100% sure. Black Panther in real tiny letters, because it's much more about Wakanda itself. So yeah, I have to say right away that I am in the camp of folks that feel like T'Challa should have been recast. I think that Coogler and the Kevin Feige and the MCU at large are seeing it a lot like Nolan did in not recasting the Joker when he made The Dark Knight Rises as a lot more respectful to not recast the actor. This whole thing is a lot more about respect to the actor than it is, in my opinion, the character itself. And who knows what Boseman really would have wanted. I have a hard time imagining that he wouldn't have wanted to see the character continue, but that's just speculation. Who knows? At any rate, some people, including Austin, and he's not here, I don't want to speak for, I think he's in the comments, but I'm doing this video solo this time. I don't want to speak for anybody, but I talked to Austin about this, and I know he's not alone in feeling like this is, it reads maybe a little bit cynical, and I don't know that I feel that way. I get why some people might. I think that this is not the direction they should have gone with this, but I am real cautiously optimistic about it. It really helps with this particular material that Black Panther wasn't just about that character, but was about a whole society. And I think this teaser, and it is a teaser, does a really good job of not just being a tribute to the actor and the character, which is what everybody's latching onto. Isn't this a heartfelt, tear-jerky kind of tribute to Chadwick Boseman and his passing, and the fact that he's, you know, how sad it is that he's not around anymore, that he can't continue with this character, and maybe some folks are worried that the whole thing is going to be just that and nothing else. But I think the trailer does a really good job of reminding us that that first movie is all about that culture and giving us a lot of flashes of Wakanda itself and how it handles different things. I like the water birth, kind of reminding us that this is a tribal community that handles things in a very traditional and different way than the rest of the world does. It's a big ensemble cast of a lot of characters that got a little bit of screen time last time but have the opportunity to really be fleshed out here. So I think it's making a really good case for, even though we don't have our original protagonist, there's plenty of potential character meat on the bone here that we can mine. And some of these characters have had plenty to do in comics before, of course, particularly Shuri, and I think you can make a whole movie about her. I have liked a couple of ones that were Black Panther things that were just about Shuri in the comics, and I know Austin and some other folks find her irritating and don't like her. She was a standout for me in that first movie. I like her a whole lot. I am personally fine with her becoming the new Black Panther. It's pretty clear that that's what we're getting from the end of that. If you pause, and that shouldn't be a shock to anybody. Frankly, I'll be surprised if that's not the case. I said this somewhere the other day. I don't think we should play it as a big mystery too much, because I don't think anybody's going to be real surprised when it turns out to be her, and I'm hoping that it's not too far into the movie if indeed that is happening. I also wonder if we're going to get the kind of tribal battle for who gets to put on that costume, because unless there's some sort of loophole where you can be Black Panther without running the country, I kind of wonder how exactly that whole thing is going to work. But it's pretty clearly, if you pause that image at the end, that's behind the Black Panther outfit, that it is a feminine, the outline of a feminine body. It's got to be Shuri, right? Like, almost certainly. The Namor thing is certainly exciting, and it looks like that's going to be another really interesting, different kind of culture to look at. We've got now two made-up comic book cultures that we can, mine some real-world stuff from, but really make up something really interesting for each of them. I'm sure that they'll have each a real different, worldview and ideology. to contrast and mine. But yeah, overall, I am pretty excited about this one, to be honest with you. Like, it's not the direction that I really want it to go. I think it's so odd and awkward that we're gonna have to kill him off screen. And I think what might make or break this movie for a lot of people is going to be how exactly that is handled. The rumor is that he dies of some sort of disease. I almost said natural causes, but I guess not exactly. But that he's probably not killed in battle or something, because a lot of people were assuming he gets in a big fight with Namor, but now I'm hearing that's not necessarily what happens, and it would be weird to try to do that off screen, or to have, like, I'm not sure that's what you should do either. I don't know how exactly you should handle this, but it would be kind of weird if you had, like, somebody else in a Black Panther costume that fights Namor, and Chadwick Boseman isn't playing it, of course, because he's passed away, and we do that, you know, in the opening scenes of the movie or something. But it's kind of too much the real world informing it. I find myself, and I understand folks that don't feel the same way I do about this, the notion that he is the only person that you want to see play this character after Black Panther was such a cultural phenomenon, but then I would let it maybe lie for a few years and then recast, if you're worried about looking crass, because like for folks like Austin, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. You kind of maybe look crass anywhere, where it's like, well, the wheels have to keep turning. We're going to get this movie out, maybe not exactly when it was going to happen, but pretty soon after, and it's gotta now, capitalize on Chadwick Boseman's death. Again, I don't read it cynical. I don't think that they're thinking, oh man, we're going to make so much money by making it just a big tribute to Chadwick Boseman. Having said that, it is probably going to make more money because of that. Just judging by, and I don't know that I would have predicted that, but just judging by how many views the trailer has, 25 million views in the first 24 hours, I think, or at least 20 million. It was an insane number, and I don't know that as big of a phenomenon as the first movie was, I don't know if that would have happened for just a regular Black Panther 2 starring Chadwick Boseman. We have a super chat from Billy the Kid Lawrence. Thanks very much to you. $49.99 super chat. Rumors say the White Castle will get blown up in Ironheart. We're back to White Castle again, folks. If true, wonder if She-Hulk will represent whoever does that. Yeah, so I don't know if you're joking or if there actually are rumors about the White Castle, but I think it's really funny if the MCU fans are outside of our channel also obsessing over what's going to happen to the White Castle. Somebody mentioned Ironheart. With I guess she's going to be in the She-Hulk trailer, not this, but anyway, production values look wonderful. I'm just excited to be in that world again. I unabashedly love the first movie. I think Black Panther is just wonderful. I put it on my top 10 list of superhero list of the decade, and I think there's a lot of potential for all of these characters and their various perspectives on whether that we can run with from the first movie on whether their culture should have been open to the rest of the world, whether they should stay isolationist or not. And now, without this will be interesting drama, certainly, without the leader that really believed in that, where does all of that go? I would imagine that there would be some factions, some characters that would want to close the borders off and take that opportunity to go against what T'Challa wanted all along. So I'm really interested in the politics of it and in the continuing culture of the whole thing. And so I think that there's plenty of potential for storytelling. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be lame just because we've lost our protagonist. But at the same time, it's not what I wanted this thing to do. I do think that there's every potential, more than potential, for me to be won over on the actual piece, even if it's not where I wish they were going. Let's go ahead and watch the next one. So this one I've not seen, so I'll be responding to this, and I probably won't talk about this nearly as long, because this is a character that I'm not super familiar with, and with She-Hulk, and a thing that I wasn't real impressed with the first trailer. But again, people are saying that this looks more watchable and more fun. So, okay. Austin says, no, she's in this and not She-Hulk. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had heard something about Ironheart. I didn't notice where she was in that trailer. So anyway, my mistake. I apologize. So we are then working really hard to do a lot of cross-pollination between the movie stuff and the Disney Plus stuff, and I'm wondering just how long or how much of that's going to happen as we move along into the future, because of all of the kind of MCU burnout that I'm hearing from people. And obviously it's not enough to really affect their bottom line all that much in the grand scheme, I guess. I mean, there might be some movies and TV shows that aren't making as much as they were hoping, but they're certainly recouping that on the, I guess I should say, the front end with things that are hugely popular, like Spider-Man No Way Home. Obviously, Black Panther is going to be huge. I think that movie, given the interest, has every potential, especially if it's good, to make the kind of money that No Way Home did. But a lot of people are complaining, and I'm right there with them, that MCU is oversaturated right now, that it's very difficult to keep up, and I wonder if if enough people are going to be disinterested in a lot of the Disney Plus shows to the point where we won't in the future, after the first couple of years, or the first year even of this stuff. I guess we're actually approaching the end of the first year, where people might not care enough, where we just won't see quite as much of that cross-pollination. I wonder. We'll see. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the She-Hulk second trailer. Here we go. That's a duck, man.
Jeez, what the hell, man?
Still in control and the overwhelming feelings of rage.
No, a normal amount of rage.
You do revert back to Gen form when you sleep.
Was the air horn really necessary?
For comedy, absolutely. This is a multi-year journey you're about to embark on. Yeah. Who's your best friend?
Nikki.
Spandex.
I wonder how much he'll be in the
Spandex is
show.
your best friend. Being a Hulk asks for balance. You have so much more to learn. Yes!
CG faces maybe look a little better.
If you want to go back to your life as a lawyer, I respect that.
He doesn't mean that.
Oh yeah, she is doing the fourth
More and more
wall-breaking
eccentric
thing.
superhumans are coming out of the woodwork. We're going to launch a division for them. And I want the She-Hulk to be the face of it.
Jennifer Waters. Namaste.
I have a serious conflict of interest. This man tried to kill my cousin, Bruce.
Yeah, that's quite all right.
Oh.
Don't you hate it when that
People only
happens?
care because I'm representing Emil Blonsky.
I think they care because they're like, hey, that girl's green.
Jen, do your thing.
God, I really like this outfit.
I'm not proud of this.
Miss Walters, we answer to a higher power. Our universe is on the edge of a precipice.
I am a lawyer.
That looks
Do
good.
things by the book.
The Book of Ashanti.
No, the book of American laws.
Whether you
That was
like
funny.
it or not, you're now a superhero.
Let's do this. You know that friend you had in high school who was way cooler than you were, attractive, got all the attention from everyone? Hello.
I think I'm jealous. Is that what I'm feeling?
Okay, I had heard something about Daredevil being in that show, and of course I was assuming that we would get Murdoch, but I didn't know if there would be like a superhero team-up thing. That is a lot more cross-universe than I was expecting. I didn't, certainly didn't expect Wong to show up, and I don't look at, except, just stuff people send me and I find out, a whole lot of behind-the-scenes stuff before trailers come out and before shows come out, because it's fun to be surprised, and I just don't take up a lot of, my time looking up these things, so I didn't even realize, or I had forgotten if I'd heard about it, that Abomination was going to be there, so I like that we're going all the way back to Incredible Hulk and doing stuff from that movie again, finally. I thought his transformation for TV back into that looked pretty cool, and it looks a lot more watchable than it did before. Like, this is a really good example of. You'll see I'm hesitating now because I'm actually not sure what that transformation was, because I guess that was an Abomination, but that was that character before, right? Anyway, I always get self-conscious with this stuff because I know I'm going to get things wrong, and there's going to be things that you guys already knew about that I didn't, that I'm seeing here. But I guess all I'll say is I'll probably watch it now, because I wasn't totally sure I was going to. Like, the comedy wasn't landing for me. There was something about bits of that first trailer that just seemed kind of not for me, and a little icky and stuff. I still just don't like the uncanny valley thing of when both of the Hulks are in Hulk form. It has to be so clearly CGI. It's just a face that's green. I really don't understand why, at least in close-ups, it's got to be CGI'd, and I know not everybody agrees with that, and people have gotten used to it, but I don't like that. It takes me out. It doesn't feel like there's any reason that it always has to look like that. I guess it's sort of more consistent if it always does, but I don't know. I'm still resisting that. I still don't really care for that, but it actually looks kind of fun, is I guess my whole takeaway from that. I will certainly check that out, I suppose. But yeah, and that's a case where I'm actually not minding so much of the crossover stuff, because it seems like She-Hulk is a character that it just makes a lot of sense to do that with. I know some people, whenever they see a whole lot of characters from other things that they've seen already or that are coming out show up in things, they're like, can't we just tell a story? Why does it have to be all about, the inner continuity stuff and all of that? But, she's a lawyer. It's cool to have her pal around with Daredevil, and you have a pre-established franchise already with Hulk, so doing more Hulk stuff is really nice. It'll be interesting to see how the magic side of that universe all fits together. So, I mean, there's potential there for She-Hulk to be kind of a midpoint for a lot of the different areas of the MCU. She looks like she's going to carry that show. So yeah, I'm suddenly more interested in that. But I guess what I was going to say a minute ago is it's a good example of how trailers are meant to try to sell the thing to you, not to tell you necessarily what it's really going to be like. So that teaser felt almost like it was selling it to a different audience. I also think that maybe with the lukewarm reception that a lot of people had to that, maybe there was a pivot that happened in getting into this trailer. So now we'll look at the Shazam Fury of the Gods trailer, which I don't know that I have a ton to say about, but we'll watch it anyway, getting into the DC stuff. And here we go.
I'm an idiot.
It's showtime!
I don't deserve these
John
powers.
Kelling says that indeed was Abomination, that they changed his look. For a second, I was like, that was still that character, right? He looks totally different. And I guess, since we're doing more, I'm going back to MCU now, but since we're doing more stuff like straight off the page, and he doesn't have to have that Man of Steel, or rather BVS Doomsday look, it's cool that they are going back to more of a comic book look with that.
If I'm being honest, what am I even contributing? Ow! There's already a superhero with a red suit with a lightning bolt on it. Aquaman is literally huge and he's so manly. And Batman is so cool. And I'm just me. I feel like a fraud. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the wizard gave me superpowers. And then everybody got superpowers.
Where's everyone going?
To fight crime?
Okay.
Now everyone's kind of like doing their own thing, and I'm the only one trying to keep it together.
You understand I'm a pediatrician, right?
Come on!
Now let's get down to business.
Listen to me, Billy. The fate of your world depends on it.
I'm not sure how I feel about kids having stuffed animals of superheroes in this universe.
Children stole the power of all the gods. This is very personal, Billy.
Look, I might not have as much experience as you, because I'm not super old like you. But I've seen all of the Fast and the Furious movies, lady. It's all about family! Family! Guys, that was a signal!
Introducing the star of our show. His name is Shazam.
Was he wearing that Goonie shirt in the first movie?
Your world will not survive this.
I don't know how we fight powers like this.
It's Papa Midnight from Constantine.
You think I know how to fix this, dude, but I really don't.
Everyone can be worthy.
That guy hasn't aged at all.
Give it a chance.
That was 2005.
Now go fight for your family. Go fight for the world.
That was a pretzel truck. I just want to point that out.
I just threw a truck at a dragon.
For no
I love
reason.
my life.
I am a little mixed on this one, I've gotta say. I really enjoyed that first movie. Shazam is weird, and I've said this before, because it's a movie that a lot of us went and saw and enjoyed and then summariously forgot about. I don't hear a lot of people talk about that movie. It'll be really interesting to see how that does in the box office. If that affects it at all, or if suddenly everybody will go, oh yeah, that's right, that was fun. And one of the few things in the DCEU, in already, being rebuilt, kind of remade DCEU, one of the few of those that was, mostly universally liked. Okay, I think. My biggest reservation with this, and none of the humor especially landed for me, like I didn't think any of it was awful or irritating, it was just kind of there, kind of standard, obvious trailer fodder, I thought. And a pretty typical trailer all the way around, I think. But my biggest reservation is that I might have thought that after his first adventure, and after having to be kind of maybe the mentor for the rest of his now Shazam family, that Billy would have grown up a little bit by now. And I'm afraid that we're going to have to keep him stagnant or keep regressing his character so that it can continue to be that big but a superhero movie thing now. The pediatrician thing doesn't make a great deal of sense to me. I would think that after what he goes through in that first movie and having to fight a big scary supervillain and all of that, and again, in maybe having to be a mentor to some degree, have some mentorship, that he might have grown up a little bit, and that he'd be forced to grow up faster. And Austin and I have quibbled about this a little bit, whether or not he is like a totally different character when Billy transforms into him. And I'm starting to see more of what Austin is talking about with that, and I'm afraid that he might be right about it, and that might be taking over with this movie, to where it's a gimmick before it's a character trait, where like that's supposed to be the joke, and the joke is driving the story too much. But I am excited, or I should say, I keep using this word, I think there's some potential. I want to be excited about the Greek mythology stuff and really playing around with the lore and the mythos of this world. I think the CG looks okay. I think the dragon at the end is pretty cool looking, and I don't know, I'm a little bit lukewarm on it, but I think it's likely to be just as good as the first one, but I am a little bit worried that we're going to keep that character stagnant. That's kind of my big takeaway from that. It is really weird and awkward that we got trailers for the 2 Shazam-related movies that aren't crossing and having anything to do with each other yet, where you got Shazam 2 and you have Black Adam in the same year, and those movies so far are not talking to each other. We'll see if a Shazam 3 or a Black Adam 2 crosses those characters at all. I've never seen this happen, where you have, that I can think of, I don't think this has ever happened, where you have a superhero and his arch nemesis that have their own movies in the same year, and you don't know if they're ever going to have anything to do with each other. It's really strange. Certainly, Joker got his own movie, but there wasn't a Batman movie that same year. And they would have been in different continuities even if that had happened. So that whole thing is weird, but even more awkward is the fact that apparently, I haven't looked deep into this, but I've heard that Comicon didn't really bring up the other DC movies past this year because everything is so strange and awkward and off-putting with that, with actors that they're kind of stuck with, that they wish they didn't have to have in those movies or sell those movies on. Obviously, with Flash especially, but even with Aquaman and Mira, a character that they've, I guess, slashed as much of as humanly possible, but that actress is still in that movie, and people, for obvious reasons, don't like Amber Heard, and so I guess they're just kind of being really quiet about that stuff right now, and those 2 things are apparently still coming out next year, but there's still no telling if Flash is even going to go in the theater, so all of that's going to be really interesting. Which also makes that trailer kind of awkward, because we see a glimpse of the Flash, but not Ezra Miller's face, but you do see Aquaman's face, because he also has a movie coming out next year. I might have thought we'd at least see a trailer of that without Mira in it, because at least, she's not all over it. Like, Ezra Miller is the star of that movie. But I guess we'll see what happens with that whole thing. John Kelling, Billy is stagnant in the comics because they have to keep him as a child. Well, he could still be a kid, but I would just think that there would be, I don't know, but does he stay, like, perpetually, I don't know, acting like a 10 or 11-year-old? Because that's how, at least in Shazam form, he kind of looks there. I also wonder how much time has passed, because we didn't really see very much of the kid in that trailer, but he's obviously aged some since then, because it's been a few years. So we'll see what happens with that. And Plushy DX says, we also see Batfleck's face. Yeah, that's still real square in the old DCEU that we keep, again, being stuck with the baggage of the Snyder stuff, and kind of retooling and reinventing and retconning and retroactively doing shifts with, and that whole thing is still really irritating to me, and I still wish that, even though some of that stuff is okay, like Shazam, and I like Aquaman more than some people, it's not great. If we suddenly rebooted that, it wouldn't be a big deal to me. But even with the stuff that's working, I still wish we could straight up reboot, but I'm a broken record. I've said that before. Now we'll look real quick at this second Black Adam trailer. Did I look at this? You know what? No, this is the other one. I guess this is another one I did not look at. I have not seen this, so I only saw a couple of these. I saw the first Black Adam trailer, and this is only 1:25, so weird that it's like the length of a teaser, but the first trailer is longer than it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this, shall we? Here we go.
My powers are not a gift, but a curse. Born
this would be so edgy 20 years ago.
Black Adam.
I'm so mixed on this whole project right now.
You are not worthy. But you have 2 paths. You can be the destroyer of this world.
We've heard this before.
Or you can be its savior. The world needed a hero. Instead, it got me.
So here's how I'm hoping this movie kind of watches. This being kind of a vanity project for Dwayne Johnson, where he gets to play an anti-hero that's not really the villain, not really the hero. I kind of hope it watches like a Justice Society movie where he's there and sort of the villain of the piece, and then I guess maybe in the third act he has to team up with them to fight a big threat. I hope it watches more like a Justice Society thing than a Black Adam thing, because that's the only stuff in this that did I miss part of the rest of this trailer? Does it keep going? Oh no, it doesn't. Okay. But anyway, I like that's the stuff that I've kind of wanted to see on screen for a long time, and looks kind of neat. Like Brosnan's casting for Dr. Fate is perfect, and Hawkman looks really good, and so yeah, I wish it was just a Justice Society movie. And with the way Dwayne Johnson talks about, and like his voiceovers in this and everything, I said at the beginning of that, I don't know if you could hear me, that it feels like a thing that is supposed to be so edgy, but might have felt more that way before we had so many superhero movies and so many anti-hero movies now, after your Venoms and your Suicide Squads, etc., etc. It's like, oh man, you've never seen this before. We've had a world of superheroes, and we have villains, but what if you had one that was somewhere in between? And what if you had a more conflicted hero that wasn't perfect? And it's like, dude, that's just 1992 in comics. Like, if you're a fan of superheroes outside of modern superhero movies, this has also been there, done that from 30 years ago or 25 years ago. So it looks a little cheesier than I think it thinks it is. It's like Dwayne Johnson hasn't seen a lot of superhero movies and thinks that what they're doing is real envelope pushing and new, and I hope that the writing is a little bit better than the way he's talking about it and the way these trailers have been playing it. It's one of those things that, so I don't usually like to do this. I'm anticipating what my review of this is going to look like, and what I'm imagining myself saying, we'll see what it's actually like. What I'm imagining myself saying walking out of the theater for Black Adam is, this movie is like Green Lantern and some other things, also maybe Venom a little bit, another movie that feels like it came out in the mid-2000s but is like one of the better ones of those, so maybe not self-aware enough, maybe a little bit out of touch, but solid if only it came out at that time. And that's what it looks like to me right now. Effects and stuff look good, production values are nice. But that's how I feel about it so far. Jareth Gearhart says it's basically Man of Steel. I mean, if it was a little bit lighter, it's funny because, again, everything about the way Dwayne Johnson is talking about it seems a little bit different from what the movie actually is. And I don't know, maybe he needs that to inform his performance. But I think it's gonna watch kind of corny in a way that he's not anticipating it to feel. But I guess we'll find out. Okay, what else do we have to look at here? I guess that's everything that was in my main list. And now real quick, we'll just take a look at the Shazam trailer, which I mostly just want to use this as an exercise to say, not knowing hardly anything about the source material, and I feel real, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel real remiss in having never read this stuff and not really knowing anything about Sandman. So I'm just gonna watch this as a, would I watch that show? Does it make me want to see that kind of trailer? This is material that I probably am not gonna want to sit down and look at without having read at least some of Gaiman's Sandman, and I guess, I don't know how involved he is in this. I didn't watch this video, but I saw the other day that there was a YouTube video where he's reacting to the trailer for this show. And that makes me think that he must be behind it and must be at least happy enough with it to do press for it and stuff. So that might bode well. I don't know. But a lot of these more, like, non mainstream DC Marvel things, independent things. I realize this is still DC, but these kind of, Vertigo things, or not your standard superhero projects, on TV especially, have not been great in the last several years. Preacher, people said, lukewarm to bad things about. Why the Last Man did not work. I thought the pilot was fine, and then I watched 2 more episodes, and I was done after that. And you've had some diamonds in the rough, like apparently Umbrella Academy, but I've heard that show isn't quite as good after the first season. Things like The Boys are an exception, where you have source material that's not great that begets a show that people love. But I'm real trepidatious about a thing like this, because so many of these things have been just sort of like real quick, easy cash-ins that get put out and very often canceled before the whole season even gets put out. We'll see what happens with this. This is Netflix. I don't know if it'll come out week to week, or if they'll drop part of it at once, or drop the whole thing at once. But anyway, I haven't looked into anything about this at all. I know nothing about this show, except it's Sandman, it's based on Neil Gaiman, and he did a video watching the trailer. Those are the things I know. Here we go. What are the basic premise of Sandman?
Your waking world is shaped by dreams.
Oh, I got subtitles. That's nice.
Dreams and nightmares that I create, and which I must control.
He's out there looking for me, isn't he?
Can you imagine the damage he could do?
I need your help. If dreams disappear, then so will humanity.
I could do without dreams for a while. I haven't had a decent night's sleep in ages.
I'm not gonna stop until I've reshaped this
Oh, hey, it's that guy.
Tell us, what power of dreams do you have?
I thought about giving up, but I have a job to do, and I do it.
Things have changed.
Your eyes will tell me everything. Every thought, every feeling.
My creations do not walk amongst the living, killing mortals for pleasure.
Oh, you don't think dreams can die? Let's find out.
Nightmares do not belong in the waking world.
Oh, turns out I fit right in.
Dreams don't fucking die.
It wasn't me. I didn't do the F-bomb. Well, and that's the obvious thing to do, right? The narrative, or pardon me, the lyrical version of the Mr. Sandman song. Yeah, I might check that out. It looks pretty ambitious. The production value seems all over the place to me. Like, there are some special effects shots that look absolutely breathtaking and beautiful, and then some other things that just look like real typical broadcast TV to me. But I think it has a real stylistic look. It's real moody, and that's what you need for a thing like that. I think Sandman fans are potentially going to say it still doesn't look surreal enough, and this is one of those, real difficult things to adapt, because that material, I mean, I do know what some of it looks like. It is pretty surreal and a weird thing to try to translate. I don't know if people would consider it unfilmable in the same way that they did Watchmen, but it is a weird thing to try to translate to a more mainstream thing. So, like, I like all the weirdness. It's gotta have that. It's about dreams and nightmares and, a dreamscape and what is real and all of that. And all of that, I think, it really comes out in that trailer. Like, I started remembering things that I know about that material, even though I've never sat down and read a whole issue of it. But yeah, I think I might check that out, or at least after, I've heard I was going to say after I've heard from some reviews and stuff, I might just go ahead and in blind walk into that. That looks potentially fun and engaging. I guess we'll find out. Tyler, overall, pretty cringe about the Mr. Sandman thing. Yeah, I almost half expected that to happen. Darth Boba watched the Munsters trailer next. Oh, no! That's a bizarre trailer. What have we been broadcasting for 45 minutes? I could do that. We could do that real quick. I don't know what to think about that whole thing. You guys want me to? You want to do the Munster? This will be like one of these things is not like the others because everything we've watched so far has been superhero and comic book. But yeah, sure. Let's do that. Somebody said there's an I Am Groot trailer. I didn't know about that either. I guess we could look at that real quick too. I know that that's just a series of shorts starring Groot, which seems like an odd idea to me. I could see like a short film, but like a bunch of shorts just about Groot. Okay, I guess we'll see what this looks like. Here we go. I Am Groot. Will we know what Marvel Studios made, you guys? Three, actually. I resist fart humor so much. I'm like, I don't care now. No, I'm not gonna write it off based on that.
I am Groot.
Are they all going to be the same animation style? I guess so. I guess it's not a vignette film like the Star Wars thing. That is not what I expected that to look like. I thought it would be, because I haven't looked into that at all, I thought it would be, like 2D, real stylized, cartoony kind of animation. The animation looks good. It's, you know, good detailed CG. Nothing about that compels me to want to sit down and look at that. I'm sure it'll be, you know, kind of kiddie stuff, which is totally fine, by the way. But the logo is, I believe, from the Scotty Young comic, and I thought it might be like that kind of art, but I guess not. Or they might do different art styles, like I said, like the Star Wars vignette thing. But yeah, I don't necessarily need that in my life, but I may sample it. I don't know. I end up looking at a lot of this stuff even if I don't watch all of it, because for the longest time I had seen every single thing that counted in the MCU. Well, with some exceptions, I guess, because there's some things that technically counted in the days where all the TV stuff we assumed was in MCU, and I think at this point we've all kind of written off things like Cloak and Dagger and stuff like that, and Runaways. Like, that was all ostensibly in the MCU, but nobody's doing anything with that stuff. Okay, you guys want to watch the Munsters trailer? I'm not going to talk about this too long. So, Rob Zombie's Munsters, let's see. I'm seeing two different trailers. There's a second one. Is it just a shorter version of the first? I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and look at the most recent one, which is shorter. Because the one I saw was the... no, this is a different trailer. I guess we'll look at this. There was that really bizarre trailer that Red Letter Media said looked like it was cut by Rob Zombie himself. Pardon me. I had the same thought about it. It really did. The you know, from Rob Zombie comes the greatest love story ever told. It was a really cheap-looking movie, intentionally, I suppose. But there's still a lot of really baffling things about this, and. Anyway, I'll talk about it after we watch this, but yeah, we'll just look at the most recent one. Oh, Tyler says the short one is just a teaser. Well, if it's got new footage, I probably want to see it. Let's just go ahead and look at this real quick. Oh, okay. Oh, this is just a teaser. Okay. So yeah, let's go back and look at the actual trailer, guys, and then later on I'll look at this. But this is actually going to make it clearer to people what it really is, I suppose. Tyler overall says it looks like a 90s TV movie. I think some people were assuming this would come out in the theater, especially because that first trailer has the Universal logo at the beginning, and my dad thought that too. My dad is a huge Munsters fan, and he's really excited about this movie, and I'm afraid it's going to massively disappoint him. And I told him, like, don't get your hopes on this, because even though it's PG and it's ostensibly going to be okay for kids, it also looks typical Rob Zombie in a lot of ways. And I don't think he knows what he's getting himself into with it. But yeah, here's this, if you haven't seen this, here's this very strange trailer for Rob Zombie's passion project. He's obsessed with the Munsters for some reason. This is a thing I think you could do a real cool modern version of. But he seems to want to kind of just go back and make it what it was. But
love story ever told.
How weirdly
I
cheap
don't like
all
the
this
sound
is.
of that.
The brain of a super genius transplanted into the body of a perfect physical specimen.
I want a man that makes my
Yeah, so it's an
blood
origin
cold.
thing.
A man that every time he enters my crypt, it's like a stake through my dead black heart.
I can whip you up a humpy down in the lamb.
I will probably watch this out of morbid curiosity.
I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'm looking for a vision, a queen, true love.
And what exactly do you want?
Is Herman Munster in there?
Daniel Davis, I do think this whole thing should have been black and white.
Special. I understand if you don't.
Because it would look less like the whole thing was shot in a Halloween store.
Living a boring, normal life.
If there's one thing I know, is that the rest of the world melted away as soon as you appeared in my life.
It seems Miss Lily is truly in love.
That looked like a shot out of The
You know,
Mask.
and I know that we gotta get rid of that bozo Herman Munster.
Austin says the cast seems wrong except for Grandpa. I'm kind of okay with everybody except Herman Munster, who I predict is going to be so obnoxious the movie will be nigh unwatchable just based on his performance. But I guess if I watch it, we'll find out.
Greetings from Transylvania. That's a strange way of saying hello.
Oh, I guess we're gonna have to get used to it.
That bit at the end seems really typical Rob Zombie to me, and I can't even pinpoint why. Just a couple of things I've watched from him, but like the slide whistle and just the weird way that's shot and everything. I expect that to be a really, really awkward viewing experience, but maybe he'll surprise us. Like when he had that initial teaser that was black and white and was just the opening thing, and kind of was trying to prove to everybody that he just wanted to make Munsters kind of what it was, and that it was going to be harmless and more of a kiddie I shouldn't say kiddie, but more of a family-friendly thing. I was like, wow, I'm really surprised and kind of half impressed with that. And then we got this, and just the super cheap production value without any attempt to, make it more stylized or shot in any kind of artistic way. Like, I get what he's doing. He's trying to make it cheap in TV, but the TV show looked better than this so far. I guess we'll see what it actually ends up looking like, for real, if I actually watch it. But I do think the whole thing probably should have been in black and white. Anyway, it's a weirdly put together trailer. I agree with Red Letter Media that the way it's cut is weirder than what the actual material in the thing is. But maybe I'll try to review it with my dad. I predict whatever it is, Dad's going to be excited and he's going to like it, just because it's gonna harken back enough to what that show was for him, and he's got, it looks like a Grandpa Munster that is embodying that pretty well. So I don't know. I don't want to speak too much for my dad, but I don't know how critical he's gonna be of that. But yeah, it looks like that other little teaser that they put out saying the way it's gonna be released is letting people know that it's not going to the theater and it's going to be a DVD thing, and telling us when it's actually coming out. All of that should have been in this trailer and would have made it a little bit less awkward for people knowing that it's coming direct to video. Anyway, so that is, so that's that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bid you farewell. Thanks for watching the stream. Sure appreciate it. I just wanted to kind of test the waters with this, do a stream of watching trailers and talking about them, because I haven't really done that before, and I'm not saying that I'll necessarily do this all the time with things, but trying some different things out these last couple weeks as I'm not doing my regular scheduled programming. And thanks for all the information, folks. Part of the reason I do this is just to get educated by you guys about what's going on. And so I guess real quick, just to recap, the thing out of all of that that I am most excited about is absolutely Black Panther. And then the thing that surprised me most is probably She-Hulk. She-Hulk, I wasn't sure if I'd watch that, and it's actually piquing my interest now. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, I'm real lukewarm on. It's probably going to be fine, but I'm not excited to rush to the theater to see that. Same thing really with Black Adam. I Am Groot is very much whatever, and then the Munsters is a baffling, bizarre-looking mess, I think. But anyway, thanks again for watching, folks, and my voice is cracking like Herman Munster, and I'll see you again real soon with more stuff here on Geekvolution. Bye, everybody.